Ikaw ba? Titira ka ba sa mundong napaka-perpekto? As in walang gera, walang kagutuman at walang kahirapan. Lahat masaya, pero may isang nagdurusa. Yung perpektong buhay na meron ka ay kapalit ng kalayaan ng isang bata. At alam mo, alam ng buong lungsod na may isang apektado pero tuloy-tuloy pa rin sila. The ones who walked away from omelas. Utilitarianism over-prioritizes the happiness and well-being of the many. If a lot will benefit from an outcome, then it is considered morally just. Simply put, the greatest happiness for the greatest number. Basta maraming masaya, masaya na. Tama na. There are two types of utilitarianism: act-utilitarianism and rule-utilitarianism. The other one is a case-by-case situation, and the other one, it follows a general rule that is for long-term happiness. In omelas, the citizens make a direct, painful calculation. So one child suffers and thousands thrive. From an act-utilitarian lens, this is acceptable. The net happiness outweighs the suffering. It's a situational judgment, cold, calculated, but justified in the moment. This is basically Ymir from Attack on Titan again. For context, she was exploited the moment she gained the ability to be a titan as a child, the founding titan. Back in the Eldian Empire, the king made her a slave, used her to build his empire, and destroyed the other opponents. Again, like the omelas, the prosperity of one country depends on an innocent child suffering. How is that even just? Now consider rule utilitarianism. An action is justified if it follows a justified rule. A rule is justified if adopting it would maximize well-being for everyone. So it asks us, should we even allow a rule that justifies sacrificing the innocent? If such a rule became universal, would society still be just? Spoiler alert, no. In omelas, the rule is unspoken but real. Happiness is sustained by the misery of one. A rule utilitarian might struggle because this rule violates dignity, obviously, and creates a moral system that can't be trusted to protect everyone. So yes, it is utilitarian. It's act-utilitarianism, where outcomes matter more than methods. But that doesn't mean it's easy to accept. From a strict utilitarian view, oo naman. Greatest happiness for the greatest number, ika nga. Pero, there's a cost. The child is no longer a person. They become a tool, a sacrifice, a means to an end. That's dehumanization. And it leaves scars even in those who benefit from it. Some citizens walk away, their conscience rejects the calculation. So it may be justifiable on paper, sure, but it is morally disturbing in practice because the human heart doesn't run on math alone. Utilitarianism gives us clarity. It helps guide public policy. When used wisely, it can help save lives. But the flaws are, it can also sacrifice the few for the many. It may fail to protect minority rights. It may ignore justice, dignity, compassion, things that numbers can't fully capture. Inconsistencies in omelas, the citizens know it's wrong, but most do nothing. A few walk away, but even they don't stop it. There's no rebellion, no rescue, just quiet, passive acceptance or silent retreat. Omelas shows us that utilitarian logic can lead to moral blindness when it ignores the value of the individual. So, utilitarianism works, but not always. Not when it asks us to accept inhumanity in the name of balance. Not when it turns people into sacrifices. If I were a citizen of omelas and I had to choose, honestly, I'd save the child no matter what. Even if it meant losing this so-called eternal happiness, I couldn't let that child continue to suffer. Maybe that leans into my savior complex, but I wouldn't be able to live with myself otherwise. It just doesn't sit right with me to walk away and call it a day. And staying and pretending everything is fine would be unbearable. How could I truly enjoy the beauty of omelas with the image of that suffering child haunting me? It wouldn't feel like peace, it would feel like denial. I can't promise that the child will find joy or healing outside that room, but one thing I know is that child deserves a chance. No one should be reduced to a sacrifice and locked away, forgotten, treated as less than human. Everyone deserves dignity, freedom, and the right to live fully. And honestly, what's the point of being happy? Or what's the point of constant happiness? In a world where you never feel grief, sorrow, or struggle, how do you even recognize joy? I'm not glorifying those feelings, and I know it hurts, but emotions need contrast. Without sadness, happiness loses its meaning. Life isn't about being happy all the time. It's about feeling the full spectrum. That's what makes it real. In the story, we never talked about the unknown or the gates outside omelas. So what if there's life beyond omelas? Like it's Divergent and Maze Runner all over again. Maybe it isn't exile. Maybe the people who walked away aren't really lost, but they're watching, observing, waiting. The city's perfection is a performance, a fragile illusion. What if the child is more than just a victim? What if the child is the mastermind? What if they chose the basement not to suffer, but to provoke, to reveal the city's soul? A test, perhaps, not of endurance, but of morality. A mirror for the citizens to look into and decide who they are. And what if one day the Watchers returned? What if they broke open the walls of Omelas to set it free? Then a riot begins, not of violence, but of awakening. Like the first bite of apple in Eden, the veil lifts, the people see. The child is no longer just a burden, they are the spark. And suddenly, the city feels real. Not perfect, but real. And maybe that's what Omelas was waiting for. A person who will break the entire system and makes us realize what the true purpose of Omelas for.